Hi there! I am Sensei Victoria Whitfield, your business Reiki master, and it's my joy to help empathic entrepreneurs like you get and stay grounded and clear in mind, body, and business. Welcome back to another installment of your weekly love letter from the dojo at naturalintuition.com and my blog, victoriawhitfield.com. These are your places for holistic stress management techniques and guidance for developing your natural intuition so that you are glowing as you grow in life and business. Whether you are looking to improve the quality of your personal or professional life, let this love letter be your reminder that you are not alone and that together we can make that happen. So this is the fifth and final week of our exploration of vulnerability, right? Cultivating our relationship with being vulnerable and improving our ability to engage, opening up in a positive way, maybe for the first time. Now, if this is the first video that you're seeing in this series, make sure that you hit pause, go back on my blog at victoriawhitfield.com and start from part 1 so that you are grounded in this process, okay? Without further ado, this week in particular, for the fifth and final week of our discussion on vulnerability, my spirit guides have asked us to discuss vulnerable leadership. So last week, we talked about the power of opening up as an empath to being vulnerable so that we can better relate to and interact with the people and things that we care about in this lifetime, right? Respecting our energy as empaths, but also not letting our sensitivity dominate us in this lifetime, right? Claiming that as a power rather than a disability or something that you are constantly afraid of or overly protecting yourself from. You understand? So this week, however, we're going even farther into vulnerability as a power and applying it to leadership. So a wonderful role model of vulnerable leadership and someone who's a thought leader in this area, two people I would have to say. One is Simon Sinek and Brené Brown. If you have not checked out their work, I highly recommend it. They have amazing, inspiring, empowering things to share with you around vulnerable leadership and how healing it is, especially in the professional world. You know, the most painful thing that I've seen is how insensitive leadership destroys powerful teams that have become like family and overcome the most incredible odds together. That these things that come from top down in corporate, right? Restructuring, right? Or layoffs or whatever hot word they use to explain being insensitive to the needs and the preciousness of the relationships of the people that are working under them. It's incredible. You know, I grew up watching my mother work for a certain corporation as a technical writer and then a web developer and coder for over 20 years. And I remember as a kid going to their like picnics and things and seeing all of these people that she worked with, like my extended family, and feeling part of something bigger and seeing them laughing and supporting one another. And then I also lived through, as a young woman, watching them be torn apart and the stress and the pain of those wonderful relationships being just torn apart by restructuring or reorgs, as the company would say. I'm not going to say what company because I want to respect privacy here. But also, maybe you've seen this happen in your family, your work family, right, or your corporation as well. This being torn apart by insensitive leadership, putting numbers before people, right, or putting their own self-protection, which is something that we hinted at last week, but let's go into it this time for our final discussion. Putting their own self-protection before serving their community around them. We can get protection obsessed, especially in the professional world, because for some reason we allow money and numbers to make us paranoid and prioritize dollars and quotas, right, and metrics above people and relationships and health, right, and mutual human respect. Be kind to yourself if this is something that you've witnessed happening and that you don't want to be a part of any longer. If only just for today, commit to being open as a leader. Commit to developing your ability to be vulnerable along with the people who you are leading. You know, Simon Sinek gives us a wonderful example of how to measure how open-hearted you are as a leader. Leaders, he says, are people who watch out for the people to the right and to the left of them. That is it. It has nothing to do with titles, right? What's on your business card, or what your website says, or what how big your office is, or how big your bank account is or not. It's who are you being on a moment-to-moment basis. And in order to look out for and to take care of the people to the left and to the right of you, you've got to be open to what's going on with them, rather than just what's going on with me and making sure that I'm getting X, Y, Z and done, and so on and so forth. That is a mental acrobatic that you do at first to decide I'm going to be concerned and open and curious and communicative with the people that are to the left and to the right of me. The people that are supporting me, I am going to support them, right? I'm going to be open to how do they feel right now. I'm going to ask them, how are you feeling? Are you all right? Right? And loving and supporting them in that. Coming from a space of your own center of love and support. Not forgetting that you as the leader have needs, right? And have feelings, which is something that we also discussed last week. Opening to the fact that, I have feelings. As someone who supports others, I have feelings, I have needs, and they have got to be honored and respected by me first, and then also the people that I'm sharing this life experience with. Be kind to yourself if in trying to be a vulnerable leader, meaning someone who is present to and caring for the people who are in your care, you've sacrificed your own self-care. That is negative vulnerable leadership, because it leaves you open to health problems, relationship problems, spiritual and emotional oppression, depression, right? Be kind to yourself. That leaves you negatively vulnerable. How can we then, as leaders, as healing leaders, that's my term, being healing leaders on this planet, how can we open up to leading from the heart, leading with courage and positive vulnerability, right? Curious, what does that look like? Positive, vulnerable leadership, healing leadership. I would venture that it starts with healing self first and staying open to being present to those that are in our care, right? Who are supporting us, who are following us, and share the same beliefs and vision that we have, right? We're all working together in one direction. And at the same time, there's the person out in front who holds the vision, right? Being the visionary. Are you healing? Are you present to yourself? And okay, if you are, you're doing your self-care, you're doing your spiritual nourishment, your physical nourishment and love. Are you present to the people around you needing the same, just as much love and approval and support and honor as you're showing yourself, right? And are they also learning how to do that for the people behind them as well? Be a healing leader. It entails being open to being vulnerable, right? Cultivating that ability to be vulnerable. But if only just for today, commit to being a healing leader by opening to being vulnerable in a positive and empowering way. I'm hearing the oracle cards like, hey, pick us. It's Healing with the Angels, Oracle Cards deck by Doreen Virtue, her very first Oracle Cards deck that she ever made in her career. Angels, what do we need to know right now about stepping into healing leadership by embodying being positive, vulnerable leaders? Ooh, this is so good. Like, I could literally do an entire summit on this. Listening. Listening. This is so perfect. And I love that she's listening to her angels and her angels are listening to her. I'm going to read. I don't really have to, but before I read, I just want to tell you what I'm hearing from my spirit guides around listening. You know, the most powerful leaders I've ever followed in my own life have been profound listeners. Profound. Having the courage to listen to your people as a leader is essential. And listening, she gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So we've got to listen twice as much as we give directions and directives. But anyway, listening, let me read. You are in communication with your angels, and the messages that you are receiving are very real indeed. Trust them. This card is a validation from your angels that you really are hearing them. You have been receiving repetitive messages through your feelings, dreams, visions, inner voice, or knowingness. Are you listening and trusting these messages? Are you following them? If you get an inclination to call someone, go somewhere, or read something, it's important to follow this guidance. By drawing this card, your angels ask you to give all your doubts or worries about divine guidance to them. Know that you truly are communicating with heaven and enjoy the conversations. It's so perfect. So here's where we'll leave off for this entire series. Cultivating your listening sense, your active listening, is also cultivating positive vulnerability. If you are not comfortable listening to others or you feel impatient, it's just because you haven't cultivated that as a skill. It's just a skill that you're a little bit deficient in. And if you just dedicate time and mental space to it, it gets easier and more pleasurable with time. If you need to work on your listening skills, I highly recommend my book, Natural Intuition Now. I take you step by step exactly through how to listen with presence and also why it is so important, right? The more that we become intuitive, open, vulnerable, healing, empowered leaders, the better our world becomes, right? The better the legacy of love becomes that we leave behind us in all the work that we do, in the people and the lives that we touch. Send me an email back, team@victoriawhitfield.com, what's coming up for you around this. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so that you get these love letters first every single week. Tag someone who needs to hear this, right? And I will see you in the next one. May you feel loved and safe to be your most brilliant self at work. and please enjoy the journey. Mwah. See you soon.